armchair tourists. Today we are in Nicoya, Costa Rica. The Nicoya Peninsula is located off the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, and it's the largest peninsula in the country. It's known for when its rugged mountains meet its white sandy beaches, and thus lots of tourists flock to this peninsula. The laid-back lifestyle combined with the high altitudes has made it a blue zone, however only for men. Some of the reasons that men in this area live way longer than in other places is that they have a low cardiovascular mortality rate. This is because there's high altitudes, and science has proven that when people live in places of such high altitude, it impacts their heart in a beneficial way. Now, as I mentioned earlier, people in Nicoya live a laid-back, relaxing lifestyle. This is because approximately only half of the population live in actual cities. The remainder live in rural areas of the peninsula. This results in them having to maintain their properties or harvesting their own food, so they're living an active, well-rounded lifestyle. The year-round warm and moist environment makes the perfect setting for lots of naturally growing tropical fruits such as papaya, pineapples, and other nice produce. The Nicoyan diet primarily consists of these fresh fruits and vegetables, plain whole foods, meaning rice, lots of black beans, corn. The diet sees less amounts of processed foods, such as aged cheeses, olive oils, mayo spreads. The diet is high in calories, carbohydrates, and proteins, and it's low in the glycemic index and calcium. Now, although calcium is very important for the body, it is not missing in the diet of Nicoyans. The natural water source in Nicoya is super high in calcium and iron. So this not only supplements the lack of these nutrients in their diet, and instead helps to fight heart disease and helps bones maintain their strength. One unique aspect about the Nicoyan diet is that they do incorporate animal products such as milks and eggs. That's why this recipe will feature eggs in the source of protein. In today's recipe, we will be making a traditional gaillo pinto breakfast wrap with a homemade chimichurri. In this recipe, although we will be making homemade corn tortillas, it won't be quite the same as if it were to be made in Nicoya. This is because Nicoyans use a corn product called masa harina. Masa harina is made by a process where an alkaline solution such as lime juice is added to the corn when it is in whole kernel form. These kernels are then put into a powder, and it has many nutrients that enable the body to release niacin. This is beneficial to the body. However, masa harina made with this alkaline process is not available to us. So instead today we will be using corn flour, and in order to make our tortillas hold their form, we do need to add some wheat flour. So it won't be quite the same, but it is as good as we can get. Now I'm going to show you all the ingredients that you will need to get started. For today's recipe, you will need some rice, black beans, corn, some eggs, a small white onion, a tomato, a jalapeno pepper, some water, some vegetable oil and lime juice, some corn flour, regular flour, and some salt. We're going to start today's recipe by making the homemade chimichurri. To do this, you're going to take your onion, your tomato, and your jalapeno pepper, and you're going to wash all your produce. Then once it's washed, you're going to finely dice your onion. I got my onion protectors on. Finally finely dice your tomato. And you're going to finely dice your jalapeno, being sure to remove all the seeds and innards. You want to be sure to make your chimichurri first because it's ideal if you let it have the time to sit together so all the flavors can meld and the juices can mix. So I've just gone ahead and added all my chopped produce into a bowl and I've just mixed it all about. And now I'm going to add a pinch of salt, just however you would like to taste. And then finally, a tablespoon or so of lime juice. We're just going to mix this about and set it aside in the fridge to chill. So you're going to want to make around half a cup of rice. So for my package directions, it's half a cup of rice to 3/4 cup of water. And then we're just going to turn this on to a boil. And once it's boiling, we're going to put a lid on it, simmer it, and cook for 30 minutes. Now we're going to get started on our corn tortillas. So you're going to start with 3/4 cup of corn flour to half a cup of wheat flour. Then you're going to add a pinch of salt, and we're going to mix this together. Once combined, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And we're going to mix again. Now we need 1/3 cup of water plus a half a tablespoon. So now we're going to slowly add in a little bit of water, mix it, and then repeat until all the water is incorporated. As you can see here, my dough is still a little bit too dry. I'm going to have to add a little bit more water. Just keep gradually adding water and mixing until you get a dough-like consistency. So now that I have kneaded the dough into one uniform ball, I'm going to divide it into 4 equal-sized balls. Now, I'm going to take each dough ball and sandwich it in between 2 pieces of parchment paper. Now, I don't have a tortilla press, so I'm going to be using a rolling pin to roll out each tortilla as thin as I can get it. So now that I have it rolled out as thin as I can get it, I'm going to peel off the wax paper. And we're going to place the tortilla into a warm skillet. So over medium heat, we're just going to cook this for about 30 seconds to 1.5 minutes on each side, just until it's golden brown or to the crispiness of your liking. So once this has gotten to the crispiness of my liking, I'm just going to flip it over and cook it on the other side. So I've strained both a can of corn and a can of black beans, and I have added about half a can each. Now we're going to start cracking the eggs. This recipe serves 4 people, so I'm going to be using 8 eggs. You're going to crack them into a large non-stick pot. Now we're just going to whisk the eggs. Now that the eggs are whisked, we're going to bring them over to the stovetop. And we're going to cook on medium heat, stirring consistently until they're fully cooked. So with our warm, fresh tortilla, we're going to start with a little bit of rice. Then we're going to scoop some of our bean and corn mixture. Then some eggs. And finally, we're going to top with some of our fresh chimichurri. Now all that's left to do is wrap it up and enjoy. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. As always, the recipe and ingredient quantities will be listed in the description box down below. I hope you learned a little bit about Nicoya and this Blue Zone diet, and I hope to catch you next time.